Yes, so I'm the operational lead for an MSK service. I manage a cohort of staff ranging from physiotherapists to advanced practice physiotherapists and podiatrists, advanced practice podiatrists, and we also have 2 GPs with extended roles as well. We're also looking to recruit into physiotherapy assistant roles and widen the cohort of staff that we have at the moment.
That's really interesting. And how did you get into your current position?
Yeah, so 2.5 years ago I progressed into operational leadership. So I was a full-time MSK physiotherapist by background, and throughout my clinical career took different opportunities to try different things, to step out of the norm of clinics, and then from there did sort of 2 or 3 internal leadership courses, and from that gave me kind of a good grounding and foundation in my interest of the leadership of AHPs, and then from there the operational role within Shropshire came about, and so I applied and was successful. The role initially started off being 3 days a week, so I was still 2 days a week clinically, 3 days a week operationally, and that's now increased up to 4 days operationally and still just 1 day clinically, which I think gives a really good support to the operational role to know exactly what it's like in clinic as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'd still like to keep an element of my clinical background, so I think it just keeps you really fresh in the operational role. You can appreciate the challenges that come from clinicians, from the clinical workforce at times. We know how challenging it is in all areas, and I think it helps just give a little bit of experience and being able to kind of reason. So when you need to make a decision with your operational hat on, you've also got the clinical hat to give your reasoning to why you're making certain decisions. So I think it does just help support that. So the most part of my role is kind of the management of staff, so that ranges all the way through from building their clinics to liaising with our bookings team to get those clinics filled. It includes staff development, so through appraisals and development reviews, looking at service developments as well, so identifying key areas where there might be elements we can improve on or that we need to look to adapt. And linking with other MSK services across Shropshire as well to help create a standardised service. We've recently gone through an MSK transformation programme, so the 3 local Shropshire trusts have merged their MSK services so that patients, wherever your postcode may be within Shropshire, receive a standardised pathway and care. So a lot of work has been involved in implementation of that, which has ranged again from linking with operational managers across Shropshire, looking at the differences between our services and the areas that we needed to improve. So that ranged from clinical to non-clinical time, template building, the process of recruitment. So we ensured that through the recruitment process, we had interviewers from each trust on the panel to ensure equity, and then looking at workforce developments as well. So a large portion of the role is looking at, you know, how we can maximise and optimise our current workforce, knowing that we've got kind of you know, areas where we are short-staffed, and looking at how we can then improve that and enhance that and look at staff retention as well. So I think AHPs are an absolute shining light in the leadership world. I think as AHPs we've got very transferable skills, so I think we're all very good at communication, and often communication is the biggest element within a leadership and management role. I think we're really easygoing, we've got lots of great ideas, and we're happy to bring those ideas to the table. And actually it's about having the confidence to be able to put forward your ideas or raise challenges or things that you think could work better. And I think with AHPs and sort of the development that we've had to get to the point where we are, so through kind of maybe a degree or apprenticeship programme, it brings about lots of different skills that you can apply into all sorts of areas. So no one day is ever the same within leadership, and I think you bring about all of the skills you've learned and you apply them in different ways. So every situation might require similar skills, but it's how you apply them. It might be how you communicate, how you liaise with different people. And it's really important to be able to shine a light on the good work that AHPs can bring and enhance teams as well. I think the fact that no day is ever the same. So every day will bring about a different challenge, a different positive, a different area that you identify for, looking into or improving, or you are doing a different task and you link with different people across the trust. And I think that's what gives me the buzz every day. There are moments when it can be quite stressful, things don't quite go your way, or we've seen over the last few years that sometimes there's lots of challenges that appear out of nowhere, so sometimes it does feel slightly like you're firefighting each day, but often you finish the day and when you reflect back on everything you've done in that day, there is an awful lot of work that's taken place, and I think sometimes the role feels like you're spinning lots of different plates and just trying to make sure that you don't drop any. So yes, definitely lots of variation, which I love. I think internal leadership courses are great, but also it's looking at identifying the career pathway that you think you would like to take and then linking with different individuals that are either on that pathway or might be in a role that really appeals to you, or it's where you see yourself in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and reaching out to be able to ask for shadowing opportunities, or to be able to go and sit in a leadership meeting, see what goes on internally within different meetings and things. And I think also that supervision around identifying where it is you are now, areas where you want to be and how you can get there. Sometimes it feels like there might be a mountain in front of you, but actually having the right links and the right networking opportunities often breaks down those barriers, and it really can be quite a seamless process. And I think also the opportunity being now within the leadership role to be able to offer leadership placements, to be able to support students. So when often we have kind of physiotherapy students within our teams, it's also giving them the opportunity to come and perhaps spend a day or two within leadership, within management, just shadowing what goes on behind the scenes. I think if I recall when I was fully clinical, often you didn't quite know what went on behind the scenes. Things did. It often sounded really challenging and sometimes quite complex. But actually knowing the detail of what does go on can often just shine a light then into a different area. So again, if they're coming, from a clinical role, it's about being able to share perhaps areas that I'm working on at the moment. So often in staff meetings, I'll kind of feed in what's going on behind the scenes, what kind of our senior management, middle management might be working on, how that might impact our service, but then also how that then ties into the wider picture. So I think sometimes it's quite easy to just focus on your bubble of your own area, but actually looking at the wider picture. So how does this impact the service? How does that then impact the trust, and what other services can we link with? So we work quite closely with the AHP faculty within the area. So I work quite closely with our AHP professional leads within the trust, and that often then brings about that link into the faculty. Recently, following off the back of the MSK transformation, myself and a colleague who had worked kind of on the triage side of our service in terms of implementation, we'd been asked to present at the ICS Health and Care Senate, and again that links with the wider AHP network. So within that, the audience consisted of 3 or 4 different NHS trusts. You'd got management, directors, you've got consultants, and you'd also got professional leads there as well. So again, it's taking those opportunities to be able to shine a light on the work that's going on and who's been involved in that as well. So it's making sure the people that have been doing the work and have provided some of the input into that as well get to have their their moment to share the what has gone on as well. I think particularly now we've gone live with the MSK transformation, an awful lot of the work in the build up to going live was around workforce that I was involved with, and I'm very passionate that we have very clear career pathways for staff coming through. So in any area that you come through, whether that be from a support worker, whether that be from an apprenticeship route, whether that be from degree level, whether you're a mature student, whether you're coming straight out of university, I think it's so important to see the avenues that your career can take you and how you can help shape that. I think often, the days kind of people feeling that they have to, qualify as a physiotherapist, go into the, rotational roles we've moved away from that slightly, and recently attending various university careers events, it was really interesting to see that quite a few students now want to come straight into static posts, and it's breaking down those barriers of kind of what always has been to show the opportunities that are out there, and being able to shape that as well. So linking again with your professional leads, your workforce leads in understanding what opportunities there are from the higher education institutes, how we can work closely with them as well. So opening up our portfolio of student placements that we offer. So, recently we've kind of often linked with Kiel, and it's often been University of Kiel that we've offered student placements to, but we're able to widen that now into Wolverhampton. So it just then broadens that portfolio, but also our knowledge of what universities require from placements and how we can help support students coming in through all ranges of applications. Hopefully staying where I am for a good while and progressing through there. So I think there's an awful lot of work at the moment in terms of the development of the MSK transformation, but then I would like to see my career progressing into kind of the more senior levels of leadership and management, and working again very closely into the AHP professional lead role. So I'd always like to stick within AHPs. I think we're a fantastic cohort to work with and to work alongside, but it would be really nice to progress up into the levels with a grand dream of one day being a director of AHPs. Don't let anybody try and sway you otherwise. Take that leap, go for those experiences, reach out to anybody who can offer you an experience, an insight, a conversation, and just really work at where you want to be. So don't let anyone try and dampen your spirit, and just keep that passion alive and keep driving forwards the area that you want to go to, and make the most of every opportunity. Every opportunity will give you a different insight, perhaps a different, kind of intel into whether it is the area you want to go to. Sometimes until you dip your toe into the water, you don't necessarily know what it's all about. Sometimes the areas you think that you don't want to go into are the areas you end up in. So at university, I was definitely certain that I was going to be a respiratory physiotherapist. That didn't last too long. I ended up specialising into the MSK world, and here we are within a role of operational leadership. So go for it and just take and maximise every opportunity.